Welcome to Inspiration Radio, Growth Principles for Humanity and Progress. Join us when we share information, wisdom, and ideas how to create an extraordinary future for us all. The future is open. We together decide what will be in it.
Welcome to another episode of Inspiration Radio, Growth Principles for Humanity and Progress. And as we always say, on the level of duality, there always must be a solution. Because if there is dark and light, cold and hot, where a problem is, must be a solution. And today we have a guest who really represents, if you have the right questions, you will find super solutions. And you will see nature can help nature. We don't need to think too artificial, but we need to remember a lot what we maybe forgot. Welcome, Michael Richi. Also in German we would say Michael, but in English we say Michael. Richi sounds already wonderful. We met, as you told me, 30 years ago when my company did kind of seminars about real estate, and you were at that time in the real estate business, were a consultant in this industry. And over the last years, you made a development, not just only a little bit away from the classical real estate business, but also what we say a development in consciousness, not just simple building or making sales, to really sustainable business. And that's what we want to talk about. So welcome. Thank you for being there, Michael. And if you'd like to share something of the personal development first, how was it for you, or what made you go from the, let's say, old way business thinking to a modern and really good for the future, good for the planet thinking?
Yeah, thank you, Wolfgang. Thank you for this introduction. And of course, thank you for this question, because it's really the thing that preoccupies me a lot. How does it come that I did this way, this business, this new approach of seeing the world differently, you know? And the headline is very simple. I think over the time it has got to do with zeitgeist or something like that, time spirit, or how do you call it in English? I think we all have one perception. We have a perception of something going wrong. We have the perception that things that are wrong can be solved. And the solution is that we have to come in action on our own. We have got to be the ones who do it.
Yeah, I agree totally. We always talk here also about purpose-driven profit, and not just profit before, but like Einstein said, the mind who created the problem can't solve the problem. So you need to go to a kind of next level of consciousness that you can solve the problems. Like you said, we all experience something is not really working, but what made it for you? Is there a special event, or is it just a kind of step-by-step process that you went to a different consciousness, or that you could see problems different and come to different
solutions? I know what you mean. But when I say that we have all the same one perception of something, then it's the awareness of a problem. That does not mean that we created the problem. And that's why we can solve it. Mm-hmm. You know, we are not the creators of the problem. As human beings, as society, for sure we are. But individually, we are not.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the individual perspective gives us the power to change something. Mm-hmm. And what we've got to realize is that you have you have the strength, of course, to do it. But first of all, you need to see what's going on. Mm-hmm. And you often don't see it. You more and more feel it. I felt it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I did not see something. I felt something. Mm-hmm. I felt something going wrong. I felt something like it's not okay. You know, when I was young, and my parents are half French, I am half French. My mother was French. So we went to France And on the beach, I was surrounded by Evian and Vittel and so on, bottles, plastic bottles. And I was wondering how people could leave this plastic bottles on the beach. In Germany, we did not have that effect on the beaches because we didn't buy water in bottles that time. Or they were in glass. In France, they were already in early days already in plastic. And I was wondering how that, and that's what I meant. I was not the cause of the problem, but I could see it, and I was wondering what's going on with the people. I don't felt okay with this surrounding, and I felt something going wrong. And the more I grew older, the more the problems occurred, in a sense. And I felt, okay, you've got to change something, and that's what it was. And first of all, it was, when we say I was in the sales or marketing business, it was, of course, I found we had to communicate differently. I wanted to change the way we show our products or something. That's already a change, and you need to feel for the client. You need to have an idea of what is his impression of your product. And so I began to recreate. I was in sales and I was not satisfied with the marketing, so I changed the marketing. And so it came. And one day I saw, okay, marketing is one thing, but you also got to change maybe the structure of the company. You've got to create different processes or something. And so I became introduced in the corporate development, in a sense.
So
that makes sense for you?
Yeah, no, I understand that maybe there was not a big shift. Like in my case, I had built the facade with the big office in Hamburg at the Ulster, and then I needed to get radically rid of everything to change my life because I think I'm in the wrong place. But for you, very early, it started feeling and seeing from plastic bottles at the beach and so on. Here is something wrong, and then the marketing something wrong. So there is a kind of awareness or sensibility for these kind of problems. What I guess a lot of people didn't have because they left the bottles at the beach.
Absolutely.
And then I guess when you did the marketing or when you say changing the culture or processes in the company, not everybody says, hooray! No, yes, we are waiting for it. So you're a kind of pioneer in this. Is that true?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. But I must say, I had a big office on the Ulster too, 4,000 square meters and so on. I was CEO of a big company and so on and so on. And, but all these effects did not influence that much my opinion of having one perception, and this perception meant that I have to change something. If you have, for example, let's say an environmental feeling, you want a clean planet or something. It doesn't help if you do not come in action. You have to do something.
Yes.
And mind shift is the thing. This is what it's all about.
Yeah.
You can't simply have you can't position yourself as either environmental positive or something and doing nothing. That does not work.
Yeah. So what I hear now is first, like you start seeing the problems, the bottles, and then also for marketing, and then companies, and then it's not only about like simply solving the problem, because it sounds like you created a vision more also for yourself, how the planet should be, what should be better. This is more than just the bottles. This is more than just a single problem.
Yeah.
And
you're right.
The next step.
Yeah, you're right. You're completely right, because when you have the opportunity to do something, there are so many ways to do it.
Yes.
So many. different ways to do it.
Yeah.
And I think there's between a million ways of doing something, there's one way, or let's say a corridor, that is
It's yours.
that is healthy, that is okay.
Authentic.
And often enough, you don't consider which way to go. You only go. You should sometimes have a reflection on what impact will it have if I go that way.
Yeah,
and
because
that's what
if you have a vision, the real vision is something you even don't know in the beginning what to do and how to do it. You just need to go and work on it, and then you create the solutions.
But it came on my late days, I would say. The problem is that you've got to leave things behind.
Yes.
That's the point. Sometimes you are really attached to something, and it's not okay, but you are so in it.
Yes.
And doing things is so easy in doing something. But what the problem is with this thing, with this doing, is not the doing, it is the leaving of something else.
Yes.
Detach yourself from your habits.
Yes.
That's the point.
Yeah, very, very good to point this out. Like maybe we all grew up as kids. Okay, we leave the plastic bottle at the beach, so maybe everybody did it. And we created a kind of ego persona who was used to leave the bottles there. And then you realize the problem, and you need to change your identification with this person. Create a new kind of, like, if I still call it ego, but a different persona who says, okay, this is not what I want, I go for it. And I know I had a lot of inner stress also to let go of my law office and everything, because I went to university, I did that and that and that, invested in the office and everything, had clients there, and let go of everything, not really knowing what to do. And how do I do a living? I knew I could do the living with things, what I saw now as a problem, and then go so. But here, when you said someone needs to do, so you need to do something, before we come to this let go, is what I heard or felt, you realized something about the self-responsibility. So I need to do something. I can't be part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution. And I am responsible to change something and not, well, just wait for the government or whatever.
Often enough we complain, but we do. And often enough it's also, I must admit, not simply to find an activity that leads you in the right direction.
No, right. Actually, it can't be, because you trained your brain and you have synapses create for the old life, the old ego. And that's why we say also, if you create a new vision and you know what to do, then the vision is too small. Then if you know what to do, you're just repeating the past. But if you really let go and create a new vision, okay, we accept we don't know yet, but we are certain there is a solution, even if I don't see it yet. And I guess that is what you felt. I can do something, I want to do something, even if I don't know really what it will be.
And what you experience if you are open-hearted is so incredible. It's so incredible, because what I experienced the last years, I'm always surprised how mankind can get himself out of every shit. Incredible. There are so incredible inventions.
Yes.
Or reinventions.
Yes.
And so simple ways, and so healthy ways, and so good ways. And it's so fantastic, you even can't believe. I can tell you stories, Wolfgang, you won't believe.
Yeah, you give me one.
I give you one. I was introduced to new technologies that we're going to implement in our company, and this stuff is so really surprising. Normally we're here to talk about soil and remediation of soil, but as a spin-off, we have an activity that is creating concrete out of bacteria. This is already spectacular. because our remediation in the soil, in the contaminated soil, is mostly done by microorganisms and bacteria. And one day, one of our partners came and said, Michael, I have something, I don't know whether it's interesting for you or not. And I said, what is it? He said, yeah, I have found a bacteria that is able to create concrete. I looked at him, what do you mean? Yeah, I can create concrete with bacteria. I take sand and I take bacteria, I take water, salt, and some nutrients, and I put them in a form, and I wait, and I have a stone, a concrete stone. I said, oh, you leave me alone with all that stuff. Is that true? He said, yeah, it is. And I said, okay, if that is the case, I will ask you to drive home real quick, see your lawyer, and let's have this technique. Let's have it a patent worldwide. Because I asked him whether he was able to do it with sand from the Sahara, and if he could use salt water. And he said yes. And I said, okay, it's incredible. We're going to build houses in concrete all along the Mediterranean border in order to build houses for the people not leaving their country, having a nice home, 100 square meters, to make it a social project. But that was only one aspect. This new concrete technology, we created a company, was already incredible. But I visited a company that is able to print solar panels on, let's say, paper, wood, glass, on what surface ever you want. But not enough. He could print also a battery on a paper, on whatever surface you want, or he can create a lamp. He printed a lamp out of his machine. I was in the laboratory and I saw that, and I was like a little child jumping up and down in his laboratory. Around me were 50 people from all over the world, from China, from Asia, from America, and they were calm. I couldn't understand how they could stay calm, because this was a revolution. So
yes,
an incredible revolution. He could have heating, cooling, light, battery storage, and energy generating with a printer for a price that is absolutely incredible. It's about 10 or 20% from the prices that you're used to pay for a solar panel. And then at the end, in this laboratory, I saw a concrete stone, which was with layers of his nanotechnology printing, with layers of light, storage, also battery, solar panel, and heating system in one stone.
Yeah.
I saw the stone and I asked him, what is that? He said, yeah, actually, we are building a little factory with our printing machines in it, and we want the clients to understand what we do already when they arrive. When they arrive, they will drive on a concrete on concrete that is light emitting, that is in winter times free of snow, that is stocking the electricity generated by the light. And at night, if you come at night, it will be illuminated. So I said, what's that stuff? Incredible. How? And I asked the man, what do you think if we combine it with our bio cement, with our bio concrete? What do you think? He said, that's great. That's exactly what we need. We need companies like you. So what we found is a solution in order to do something the right way, the way it has to be done.
Yeah.
It's really incredible because all that stuff that I'm talking about, for example, the solar, the light emitting or the electricity generating or everything is completely recyclable.
Yes.
You see, normally if you have a solar panel, you have big problems if you want to get rid of them.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah.
This nano paste that he gives in his machine, he showed me a glass with a nano paste, which is putting into his printer. You can drink it.
Mm-hmm.
You can drink this nano paste. And I said, okay, this is a revolution. We're going to do something about we're gonna do something with you. And yeah, we're in discussion. And that's what I meant, all these problems, because we are facing big problems with our society. The biggest problem, I think, nowadays is that we have to define what kind of society we want to create.
Yes.
What kind of society do we want to be? How do we want to live together?
Exactly.
And that's the point. But in the end, we also need to bring solutions. But if you can have the solution of a sustainable heating system, of a sustainable stoppage system for electricity, if you have the light and everything which costs nothing, which is affordable for everyone, that's the basis for so much.
Yes.
So
thank you for sharing it in this even detail, because that is what we try to point out when we say be inspired, be in spirit, because there's a lot of paradigm shifts in what you said. Like the bacteria makes a stone. We all think stone is stone and just simply the 3D level, and not that there is bacteria is life. So that the stone is really alive. What the old wisdom always was teaching. That we look at it wrong. So when you said the biggest problem is creating the idea of what is the future, I would say even that is the second step. The biggest problem is that we have a wrong paradigm, because as long as we have the wrong paradigm, we are stuck in the 3D world thinking and not really in spirit with the consciousness that we can create. And then comes really, and we stress it all the time, and focusing on it, it's up that we really see we need to define humanity new, and then how we really want to live, and then create a new society. What we sometimes say, wow, we are capable of creating an extraordinary future. And then what you shared also, the beauty building the houses with the technology, but also, I think it's a very important point to really point out here. The bioconcrete idea, when you create it, we don't have the CO2 problematic.
Exactly.
And at the moment, concrete from the whole problem is, if I know right, 8%. And wow! And that we learn it's not about making a new law against something or a plan for 2050, and not focusing on the solutions which are already there. So thank you for really pointing this out, that all this...
But I can stop it because the process of generating concrete out of bacteria is demanding CO2.
Mm-hmm.
It needs the CO2 for the process. It's not emitting CO2, it's demanding.
Yeah.
Is that incredible? It's so incredible? You know what I mean? If we can shift the industry from their way of having, okay, we're not that far, but the indication, the direction in which we can go.
Yes.
That's I think that's the purpose of our company.
Yeah.
You know?
Super.
The subject is too big for us. It's bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
But
well, that is a good vision. Yes. The vision should be a lot bigger than yourself. Yeah. Okay, just let's make a short break. So, Michael, thank you for pointing that out. This is so incredible. We are talking about, well, the future is bright if we really understand it. And it's up to us where we focus on. But at the moment, most people are in fear. And I guess you also have a lot to do, or let's say, I mean, even call it some stress with bureaucrats and everything, that they're not really open for the new technologies. Or do you experience that governments suddenly are really happy? Wow, here we want to support you.
Very interesting point. When I mentioned, for example, the possibilities that we have to generate electricity ourselves and so on, energy has always been a big subject that is always driven by political ideas of, energy is it's power. I mean, energy is power in itself.
Yeah.
So the country has or loses its influence on power generation because everybody does it on their own. I'm not sure what it will be. So what we need first is really to discuss what kind of society do we want to be. and we maybe we must learn that we also need to learn to go a step behind. We've got, in order to, sometimes I have the feeling that we go in one direction and the next generation continues to go in that direction, and the next does the same, and so on and so on. And nobody ever questioned whether it was the right direction.
Yes.
And that's a difficulty with our society. We've got to, first of all, question ourselves, is the direction in which we go,
yes,
is it really the direction we want? Is it that where the promised land will be?
Yes.
Or is it a deviation, or maybe a completely wrong way?
Yeah.
But this, if you ask this question, that means that you ask yourself everything. I mean, all your history, all your identity, all your beliefs. You've got to be ready to ask yourself, is that okay? And then I think if we as a society are willing to do this process, and then maybe develop in the same during the same time a vision of how we want, where we want to arrive, or how we want to feel, how we want to behave, what we want to produce, and so on and so on. And then maybe we come at the point where we have to go a step behind.
Yes.
Step back.
Yeah.
But the problem is we never learn to step back.
Yes, and we never learned to ask good questions, because we go through a system in school which trains you have to have the right answer, and not training you in
direction. It's never changing your direction. And
yes.
I think that is really a point.
Yes.
And I don't know if we've come to the point that we decide as a society, as all of us, we decide, okay, this direction was not okay. Then everybody at first will ask who's to blame for it. Okay, we leave that behind. Yeah. We want to blame no one.
No, it doesn't
but
help.
If we then are ready to make this step back, the step behind, the other direction, a different direction.
Yes.
How can we learn to do this step? If you climb a mountain, Wolfgang, climbing uphill is difficult enough. But going downhill, have you ever tried to go downhill?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing you've got to learn. Yeah. Climbing uphill is tricky.
Yeah.
But going down at the right moment.
Yeah.
Really. Okay, I mean...
And you need another mountain as a vision, maybe, then it goes easier that you leave this mountain. Yeah, that's why we need...
but what I meant is, when you learned always to go forward...
Yeah.
It's
stepping back.
It's really the thing to going uphill is not really the same thing than going down. I don't know whether you experienced hill climbing or something.
Mm-hmm. It's difficult and just...
a disturbing experience.
When the whole society is moving one direction and you get the idea, oh, that is wrong, and you stop. Then it's tough when they all want to move you in the direction and they pass by. You need to overcome self-doubt. I'm the only one. Maybe I'm wrong. And really be really confident, and also doing something at the first, even if everybody does it different, and really have this self-trust. And I ask about bureaucrats or the governmental systems. Bureaucrats have interest in process, not in results. Do you have the real process? And then we don't care what the outcome is. Like you can, if you make this whatever formula right, then you get the money. We don't care what you do with the money. But this is really a crazy thing. And that is what we have. If you have people like you share who are really interested in different results. Yeah, not just about making money, what works, and different results, and what is good for the society. And that is really having different questions.
When you achieve a certain age, then you, for example, you don't care about money. You care about...
Ideally, yes. But there are two things. So it's this wisdom of the elderly or the stubbornness of the elderly.
But if you see people that are not able to live alone at home, which live in hospitals, I don't know how do you call it in English? Eigenheim, how do you call it?
Yeah, home for the elderly or whatever you say.
Yeah, home for the elderly. It's so incredible what you see if you go there.
Yes, it's awful. Yes.
It makes you cry.
Yeah.
Makes you cry.
But
How can
even
it be?
for just in normal living, what kind of houses they build, the small cabins. Like in Germany, there are rules for what kind of space you need to have for a dog if you build a hut for him, but not for kids. That is really a crazy thing in the Western world. But it is an old system misusing the people, misusing people for the benefit of the company. And what you think is really 180-degree different is that we are there to solve problems for the people. And it's a totally different idea. Yeah, but hopefully more and more get it. We call it zeitgeist. Because the linear thinking of the old, like we feel it at the moment, it's not working and the old way is crashing if you just think the old way.
To mention it once again, Wolfgang, this aspect, one perception,
Yeah.
That's exactly what I meant when I say one perception. If you talk to people, we didn't meet for 30 years, and we're talking about that, and we completely agree about that. And if I jump into a taxi and I talk about it was a taxi driver in Rome, in Paris, in Basel, wherever I go, they all have the same perception. Something's going wrong.
Yes.
That is not the case. That's not what we want.
Yeah.
And we have one perception, and we should gather all this power of this awareness, of this perception, of this feeling, in order to wonder, how do we want to change it? What do we want to change first?
Yes.
And then start doing something.
Yeah.
Simply
Yes.
be gentle, for example. Be gentle.
Mm-hmm.
It's already something, isn't it?
Yes. Kindness, compassion, and everything. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But we do not push ourselves in terms of what is my responsibility for a better direction.
Yeah. And so far,
sure.
we all know from people in the end of their life, these famous top 5 regrets. Number 1, I didn't live my true self, didn't dare to show emotions, were running after just for money and not purpose-driven, wrong relationships, and I didn't allow myself to be happy. So if we just see this, by the end of the life, people regret what they didn't do and not what they did. So we all could learn and say, okay, number 1 goal is, let's live our true self, the natural way, and really dare to show emotions. Oh, no, that doesn't feel good. And it would be so much easier. And
but of course, we don't need to talk against money, for example.
No.
Money is great.
No, totally not against it. I wrote the book Million Spirits, so I'm totally
I
for
want
money.
to make it clear for your listeners, because I think this fantastic concept of circular economy or cradle to cradle is so incredible. It's the solution. You don't need to not to earn money. You can earn a lot of money with the right things.
Yes, and that should be. Like in the past, we created wealth.
You got to do the right things.
Yes,
And that's all.
in the past, we created wealth with sickness and wars. And now we can do it with peace and health. Just we create out of the abundance and doing good. But that is what we call purpose-driven money, purpose before profit. It is not about having smaller profit. I 120% believe if you do it right, you create even more profit because there's no limitation in abundance. Where the old way is always limitation because it's destructive. Yeah, really always destroying some. Yeah, so we agree on purpose-driven money and we like money. I always say, okay, see it like your body. You need blood, but the purpose of life is not allocating of blood. There must be a different meaning. Yeah, so the money should be the servant for your purpose. And the bigger the purpose, the more money you need. Yeah. So we agree so far, and just let's make another short break, and then we come what you're really doing today with the company Globality. So have a nice short break. So Michael, it's so interesting. Well, you feel I'm enthusiastic about the way you see life and the possibilities of the future. And you mentioned a lot of projects, but you also said, okay, you need to find your way and your corridor, what to do. And now you're working in a company or creating the company, you as a co-founder, and that's called Geobality, and you're doing incredible stuff. Please share a little bit about that.
Okay. First of all, we are a startup company. What is interesting about it is that the average age of the founders is 62.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes. Enough wisdom. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Basically, you could say that we are working in the really foundation of the real estate industry.
Mm-hmm.
The basis for every property, of course, is the land on which it stands,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that the legacy of the past often enough means that the land is contaminated.
Yeah.
Needs to be remediated.
Yes.
And that exactly is a sector in which we are. So we have a special way to treat contaminated sites.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and how do we do so? So first of all, you need to understand how people do without us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The old way.
The old way. The old way is to for example, if you are a project developer, you are really used to digging excavation pits.
Mm-hmm.
And depositing the soil,
mm-hmm.
and then if you then find that your site has a contaminated soil,
mm-hmm.
then you think it would be a good idea to deposit the contaminated soil too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, bring it to a landfill site.
Even as a normal, what to say, a house builder. When I built the house close to Hamburg, there was a little lake, and that was full of duck shit. There was a lot of duck shit. They had a wonderful place there, but just digging with the duck shit. And then the government says, no, that you can't just put on the ground. You need to bring it somewhere else, because that was already so poisoned there. So I guess it's nearly everywhere a problem.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. That's it. So this method to move the land to the landfill site
mm-hmm.
It's called dig and dump method.
Yes.
You dig, dump it to the landfill.
Transport it, and dump it somewhere else. Yes.
Exactly.
And close your eyes. What happens there?
Yeah. And what we do is completely different. So,
yeah, we just make it short. Dig and dump means in the end, we are not solving the problem. We just bring the problem somewhere else.
We move it. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
yes.
We move it. We move the problem from one side to another.
Yes.
And that's exactly what the real estate industry has been doing for years.
Yes.
Always.
Yeah.
And,
crazy concept. Yes. Mm-hmm.
It is no solution.
Yeah.
It is no solution. And our solution is different. What we do is we are innovators in the field of in situ remediation. And with this
what means
new,
exactly? Mm-hmm. What
with
does
this
it mean
new
exactly?
in situ remediation,
mm-hmm.
we replace, of course, traditional methods as dig and dump, or there are different there are more possibilities than dig and dump. There, for example, pump and treat.
Mm-hmm.
Or you cover your land with a concrete.
Yeah.
Okay, but what we
put a
do
carpet
is
on the dirt.
exactly, and we have a special injection technique, and we remediate the soil in situ. That means in place,
mm-hmm.
where it is.
Mm-hmm.
We inject, let's say, we introduce active substances, often enough
mm-hmm.
biological agents, into the contaminated ground,
mm-hmm.
and then these agents will do their work without anyone on the surface noticing.
You say
inject them,
agents.
they do the business.
What are agents? With the stone before?
Let's say
Is it bacteria?
microorganisms, substances.
Yeah.
Substances. Microorganisms, bacteria, and so on. We inject them, and they do the job.
Yeah.
On the surface, you see nothing, but in the ground, there's a lot of activity. Yeah. And in order to give you an example, if, for example, you have let's say a can of oil, and you will leave it in your garden, in the ground. That, of course, will contaminate your ground. But in 100 years, you won't find any trace of your oil. What happened to the oil? What happens is that the microorganisms and bacteria and everything that's in the earth, some of them can't live with that oil. Some of them can't accept it in their surrounding.
Yes.
And others say, let's see what it is. Let's try to live with that oil.
Yeah.
And then live with that oil. And then they start and they try whether they can eat it, whether they can digest it. And what they do is they decontaminate the soil by eating the oil.
Yes.
They do the work.
Yeah.
And that's what Earth does. Earth is always looking for balance. It's always remediating itself.
Yeah.
Sometimes radioactivity, it can take 1,000 years, but in general, it works.
Yes.
So what we do is we accelerate this process. We simply accelerate this natural process. We can say that we help nature to help itself.
Yes. And that is interesting because when you say this, I just get it. Theoretically so simple. We could have always think about it because we have in our stomach or whatever a lot of microorganisms. So we eat oil, whatever oil, everything, and digest it, and something else comes out. And even today, there is a treatment if you have a whatever bad stomach or whatever the wrong microbiomes in your system. They give you good ones, good healthy shit from someone else, implemented, and you become healthy again. So it's all about nature, understanding nature.
All about it. Exactly. And when you are mentioning digestion, what we digest is the digestion of the bacteria.
Yes. Yeah.
Not digest the oil.
Yes.
We digest what the bacteria digested.
Yes.
And that's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah,
super
absolutely.
interesting.
And that's okay. That's in a sense what we're doing. And it sounds maybe a little bizarre, but this concept has always been practiced. Even the old Egyptians did it. And nowadays it's mainly the big industry that uses in situ remediation for their problems. Whenever there's a problem that occurs with contamination, they are not going to dig and dump concepts and move the problem from one point to another, but they already practice this in situ remediation concept.
Sounds so good.
And what we do is
natural way. Yes.
We do the transition from the industry or the behavior of the big industry into the real estate business. They are so close to this landfill sites, and there's a natural behavior that they have. They think, okay, I always did it. I need to dig the ground in order to build my house, and I've got to bring over I've got to deposit somewhere my land, and so they think that depositing the contaminated soil is also a good idea, and it isn't.
Super. Miguel, we need to come, unfortunately, to an end. It was so interesting. I would love to learn more about it, but it was so interesting, the view of the world you had and everything, the outlook of the future, that we just need to decide what humanity is, and that there are solutions and natural solutions. And that is what geobality is all about. We will put out the website address here as well, geobellity.bio. I guess even if you're at the moment working more on bigger projects, but I ask everybody to take a look, and if you're a developer or whatever, just make contact with them. I didn't ask you that I'm allowed to say that, but I need to bombard you with those who are interested, because it is so important for humanity that we go in this direction. Michael, thank you very much for sharing the idea and giving so much hope and insight for us. And please, listener, understand when I say the best is yet to come. We have the creativity, there are the solutions. So let's focus on the good stuff and be happy and looking forward to a very happy life and a better future and society. Thank you, Michael, and everybody.
Okay, thank you so much for this conversation. Thank you.
And everybody, be inspired.